But what we're probably going to see from the difference between yesterday and today is we now have that tornado threat on the board for today. We've got more areas in the path for storms today than what we saw yesterday. So I do think that this will be more of an impactful day today. Let's go ahead and take a look at your hail risk today. You can see here highlighted here in yellow. What we're watching for are some of these deeper oranges, maybe some reds out of this as well. Now I'm going to be honest, I bumped up our hail size, our max hail size today, to up to tennis ball size hail. But based off of what we saw yesterday, I'm not going any higher than that, and I think that will be very, very isolated. I think for the most part what we're going to see today is golf ball to smaller hail sizes, but in some very, very isolated cases we could get up to tennis ball size hail. So I went max hail size, tennis ball size hail today. Everyone else will probably see those smaller hail sizes, but look at this massive region that we have highlighted here in orange for up to golf ball size hail. It'll be pretty widespread today for that hail risk. Omaha to Wichita to Garden City are areas that we have highlighted for the best chance for large hail. Now Kansas City, you have a chance, especially to the west of you, but it's going to be pretty low and isolated, and it'll be tomorrow morning by the time the storms get to you. Oklahoma City, once again, a very low chance. If you go farther up to the north into places like Stillwater, then you're going to have a better chance for larger hailstones. Now you can see that we've outlined some very large areas here on the map, okay? You know that there's not going to be storms in every single area we've highlighted here in blue today. So here, what we're going to do in just a few minutes is we're going to circle region by region and talk about the specific storm hazards on the map today. Here's your wind hazard. Albuquerque included in this strong wind hazard today. Wichita, Garden City, Omaha also could see some strong winds today. Cincinnati to Cleveland. We've also got a line of storms, especially later on this evening, that could produce some strong wind in the Midwest. Now moving on to that tornado risk today, because a lot of people have that tornado risk outlined. We're going to go down into southern Kansas and northern Oklahoma. And then we're going to go up to the north into Nebraska and Iowa. And I know that we often have a lot of people watching from Omaha today, so we're going to zoom in and talk about that city-specific area in just a few minutes. Hey, look at that. Severe thunderstorm warning. Your tornado risk today. It's a level 1. A few isolated tornadoes are possible, but it's not 0, so we have to talk about it. From Dodge City to Woodward, Stillwater, Oklahoma, Tulsa, and up to Wichita, Kansas. That's your first area that we'll talk about today. And then you've got a second area from Lincoln to Omaha and Sioux City, Nebraska, and Iowa included in that risk as well. Now let's talk about timeline. You guys, it's a mess. I'm not going to talk about those wind risks in the Southwest. I'm really not going to talk too much about the Midwest either. What I'm really going to hone in on today is that hail and tornado threat that's right in the center of the U.S. And you can see that we've got a widespread area for storms today, and I apologize for the messiness of this graphic. I promise I'll break this down for you. So if you look up to the north, we're going to go to Nebraska first. Your timing here is between about 5 and 11 o'clock. These are the first few storms of the evening. Your hazards here are hail and high wind. This will continue to track to the east, and as we go later on into the evening hours, 6 to 1 a.m., so we're talking about overnight nocturnal storms here. You can't see it, but we're throwing that tornado threat on the board. We're going to be talking about all hazardous, all storm threats here. We've got high wind, large hail, and that tornado threat in places like Omaha and Lincoln. Go down to the south into Kansas and Oklahoma. Your timeline here, 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. What we're going to see is we're going to see storms starting out to the west and then tracking through the central portion of the state through the overnight hours. So this could wake you guys up in Wichita, Oklahoma City, and in Tulsa as we head into the early morning hours. And then some isolated storm threats this afternoon and evening as you head farther down to the south into places like Arkansas and southeastern Oklahoma. All right, I told you I'd break this down. So we're going to go back up to the north. We're going to come back down to the south. We're going to kind of do this over and over, and we're going to talk about the storm threats. And because we're talking about so many areas across the U.S. today, comment where you're watching from. Are you guys watching from the northern plains? Are you down in the southern plains? What do you guys want us to talk about today? So let's start in Nebraska. I told you that we're going to see a few isolated storms in this area. As you go farther out to the east into places like Iowa and into Wisconsin, you're going to see a lower chance for severe weather. But right here, this is our sweet spot for severe storms today. Watch this. storms by about 6 o'clock tonight just blow up. We've got a cluster of storms that is going to move through right through the state line here. So we're talking about Sioux City to Omaha to Lincoln. That's where we're probably going to see the most widespread severe weather between Nebraska and Omaha. Again, they just blow up and then they continue through the overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow morning. Now let's head farther down to the south. Let's go into Kansas and Oklahoma. Once again, we'll put our polygons on the board. It's a mess. I know, we're breaking it down for you. By about 8 o'clock tonight, what we're watching for is a line of storms on the western side of Kansas and Oklahoma. This will start out isolated at first, but then move to be a lot more widespread as we head into the late night hours. So we're talking about 11 to 2 a.m. here. You're asleep at this point, but I-35, it is awake. I mean, we've got tons of lightning here. You've got heavy downpours, you've got that tornado risk, and you've also got that large hail risk. So it's pretty widespread anywhere from the northern side of the state all the way up into central Kansas. This is going to continue as we head into the early morning hours, then targeting places like Tulsa and Kansas City. So you may be waking up a little bit before that alarm tomorrow because of these storms that are coming through. 7 a.m., that's whenever our risk ends, but those storms don't end. They'll probably continue into the early morning hours. It may disrupt your morning commute. And very quickly, we talked about that wind risk out in the southwest today, and we have another wind risk anywhere from the Midwest to Tennessee. There you go. There's your pretty widespread storms in this area. I do think that we'll get some strong wind in this area. We're talking about Cleveland, Cincinnati, all included in the risk today. Now, I know that was a lot of information, so if you ever need to go back and watch this forecast again, or if you have questions about the timeline for storms today, let us know and we can get that for you. We're pretty good about answering the comments section in YouTube and Facebook. Let's talk about the flood risk today. I told you right along 35 tonight, that's where we're going to be really watching for the flood risk, and then I-40 from Salina all the way out to Colby, Kansas. You've got a level 2 flood risk highlighted there in yellow. For tomorrow, you have another flood risk from southern side of Missouri all the way through Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. Let me show you your Storm Prediction Center outlook. We haven't shown you this yet. We kind of outlined these two areas for you today. We talked about that there may be 2 areas in the northern portion of the plains and then 2 areas in the southern portion of the plains for storms today. We, of course, have those strong winds out to the east from Cincinnati all the way down into Tennessee, and then those strong winds in New Mexico as well. So we outlined that for you earlier, but I know that Storm Prediction Center risk is nice to see as well. Tomorrow we have another slight risk that's a level 2 on a scale of 5, that highlighted here in yellow. It does include Oklahoma City. I think this will be mainly a morning storm system for Oklahoma. And then as we head farther into Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, northern Louisiana, and northern Mississippi, you're going to see these storms in the afternoon and evening hours. By Wednesday, we continue with this track down to the southeast, southern Texas, including Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky with a marginal risk on Wednesday.